What a long wait it has been. Everybody camped out here all day. The crowds have been here in pretty large numbers all day, but it was just a few moments ago when presumably they moved the easel out into the forecourt of Buckingham Palace that this great excitement, these crowds rushing towards the gates of Buckingham Palace, knowing that anytime soon they will see the official announcement of the birth of a son to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Well, I'm joined here by our royal correspondent Louisa Baldini. A wonderful moment just a few moments ago.
The crowd surging forward, cheers as well. I mean, this is a moment in history, and many people watching and many people here in front of Buckingham Palace know that they are experiencing this moment in history, that one day in decades to come, assuming we still have a monarchy, they will see this little child who's been born today, who are they waiting to find the details out about. They will see that little boy as their king, the 43rd sovereign since the Norman conquest. Just a tiny child now, just 8 pounds 6 ounces. But one day he will be monarch, and if the status quo remains, he will also be head of state to 15 other Commonwealth realms, head of the armed forces, and also Supreme Governor of the Church of England. So this is really a moment in history, and just looking at that huge crowd now that is collecting here outside the forecourt, waiting for the formal announcement to arrive.
Wonderful.
Because it's on its way.
They're already shouting 3 cheers. You can hear the crowds cheering outside the gates. I mean, it is extraordinary to think that this child could be on the throne. If it lives as long as the Queen, it could be on the throne at the turn of the next century.
It may be a long way off because, of course, this child will have to wait for their grandfather, the currently Prince Charles, who may be King Charles III. They will have to wait for his reign to be over, and they will have to also wait for their own father, Prince William's reign to be over as well. So yes, it could be decades away, but some of us may see this little boy born just this afternoon, around 4 in the afternoon, one day become king.
Given the huge, intense interest and over weeks and weeks, because the media have been camped outside that hospital since the 1st of July. I mean, it's extraordinary. It was born at 4:24 this afternoon, this little boy. It's extraordinary they have actually managed to keep it so quiet for so long.
Well, as soon as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge had walked back down the aisle of Westminster Abbey, the speculation began, and all eyes were on them, everybody waiting for a baby announcement. So yes, the press speculation has been going on for months and months, and today, finally, after the press have been camped out at St Mary's Hospital in Paddington, pretty much since the 1st of July, we finally get this announcement.
Now we can see this wonderful ornate easel that has been positioned in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace here. We know the Queen is there, the Royal Standard is flying. Very shortly, we've seen the car leave the Lindo Wing in Paddington. It's not very far away. That car will arrive here, bringing the official notice. Now, this is a document and a piece of paper, a foolscap piece of paper, isn't it? Which is a very old traditional piece of paper, signed by the doctors, and it will be taken into the palace and then brought out. It'll take some time, though, won't it, and put on that easel.
Yes, it's interesting because up until probably within the last hour or so, we all believed that the first we would know of what sex this child was is when this announcement is posted here.
Which is a very traditional way. They've done that for the Queen's birth was, I mean, Prince Charles' birth was done like that, Prince William's birth
in 1982. So yes, we believe that the first we would know of the sex of the child, whether we were looking at a future queen or king, would be when this announcement was posted here on this easel. But then within the last hour or so, we had an email, a press release from Kensington Palace saying that they'd actually decided to make a change to the timing of the announcement. And they said that instead of waiting for this official document signed by the gynecologists and the doctors in the Lindo Wing to make its way here to Buckingham Palace, they said that they were actually going to reveal the birth by press release on email ahead of this document travelling from the Lindo Wing here to Buckingham Palace. And so that is how we know that this birth has happened and that we know it is a little boy, even before this formal announcement finds its way onto the easel here in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace. But we'll know when this announcement is about to be placed on the easel, because it will be accompanied by a liveried footman and also by the Queen's Press Secretary, Elsa Anderson. So that theatre will still remain, and I think that is very much what Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge have wanted, because in this world of social media that we live in, I think there was a fear that it might get leaked, end up in the Twitter sphere, and that's not how they wanted it to be announced.
And there will be some wonderful drama, won't there? As you say, well, the police, actually, we can see them walking down here. They seem to be gathering numbers towards the gates of the palace here. Presumably that car arriving any moment now with the official document, and it will be taken in through the main gates, in through the Privy Purse door, which is on the corner of the palace. That's where the press secretaries reside. And talking of press secretaries, Charles Anson, you were press secretary to the Queen between 1990 and 97. You join me here now. What a moment. What a wonderful moment of history.
Yes, really. After a day of waiting like this, suddenly all the news is breaking at the same time. And here this moment is, with the easel there and with the piece of paper that's going to go on it, still on its way from the Lindo wing at St Mary's Hospital. You
saw a lot through your time as the Queen's Press Secretary, 90 to 97, but not a royal birth.
Saw many, many things happen, but not a major royal birth on my watch.
It'll be a wonderful moment though, when it is brought out here, this notice on the forecourt. You can hear the crowd shouting, the excitement. It's going to be a very difficult balance for this young couple, isn't it? Because we know they're intensely private. It's a hugely intimate, private affair when you have your first child. Yet, look at the media camped outside, not just here, but outside the Lindo wing.
That's right, and not only that, but also, of course, the media all over the world watching from afar this event of a modern monarchy with a very modern young couple enjoying, a very profound private moment of their lives.
And here is the moment itself. Here we are, the document which has been signed by the doctors at the Lindo wing, being brought in, as I say, into the forecourt. Now this is through the Privy Purse door.
The Privy Purse door, which is the sort of royal officials' entrance to Buckingham Palace, where all visitors arrive to see members of the royal family, members of the royal household, and where important news, important letters and so on are brought each day, and have always been brought through that door.
And the reason it's being taken in there and not brought out immediately is because it needs to be framed.
It needs to be framed, and then will come out, we think, with a footman and perhaps with the Queen's Press Secretary, to be put on the easel.
What do you think will happen over the next few days? I mean, if you look at past royal births, William's birth, for example, how long do you think it will be before everyone gets what they want to see, a glimpse of this royal child?
Well, that depends really on how long the Duchess remains in hospital, and I think probably the first few will be of the Duchess and Prince William with their baby when they are ready to leave, and I don't know how long that will be. And that will be the first image we have, rather the same as with Prince William and Prince Harry. And I think after that they will hope to find some moments of privacy to enjoy such a private moment. And I think in 2013 that's perhaps the most difficult balance, is this enormous interest that the world has, which a lot of the public have. I don't think it's the royal family wanting to make huge publicity of it. It's just genuinely popular affection and popular curiosity all around the world, not just in the Commonwealth, but in many republics, many countries that abolished or got rid of their monarchies hundreds of years ago.
But this is going to be the big dilemma for them, or the very difficult thing to deal with, certainly, will be the amount of access, I suppose, that the young royal couple give the media, the public, who are clearly very, very anxious to see this young child and will be wanting to watch it grow up, and also just protecting and shielding that child. And as you well know, Prince William is fiercely defensive and protective of his own private space and against the media.
Yes, highly protective of it for family reasons, and also from his own experience as a young boy and with his mother and so on, but also protective of his young wife coming into the royal family. He's after all been trained. He's always known that he would eventually become Prince of Wales and eventually become king, but I think for the Duchess of Cambridge this is still a new experience, and she's had the profound experience of giving birth. And I think they're both, as a couple, very conscious of the enormous public interest and the fact that that's all based very much on goodwill. But equally, they all want to be seeking their own sort of area of privacy with their child. We saw this after their marriage. They lived simply most of the time in Anglesey and have been used to spending quite a lot of time on their own together. And somehow they've got to mix that with this huge public interest, and there'll be the milestone moments for for their child where we'll see them occasionally, but I wouldn't expect the access to be constant at all.
And we've just heard that the Prime Minister has offered his congratulations to the couple. He says, David Cameron said, "I'm delighted for the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge now that their son has been born." And of course, being a son, we don't have all the huge moment of history that we would have had if it had been a girl.
No,
oh, here comes the notice. Let's just enjoy this moment. Elsa Anderson and one of the livery footmen.
Elsa Anderson, who is the Queen's press secretary.
A very simple, by the looks of it, statement. If we can read it from here. Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Cambridge, was safely delivered of a son at 4:24 p.m. today. Her Royal Highness and her child are both doing well. Signed there by some of the medical team who attended to her birth. A very simple, but a very traditional royal custom to do it like that.
That's right, either on the railings or on the easel, and in that very simple way that the doctors and the hospital have put together.
And she's had, Louisa, let me bring you in again, a very sort of well-experienced medical team looking after her all this time.
Yes, she has had Marcus Setchell, who is former royal gynaecologist, and also Alan Farthing, the current gynaecologist. So she has been in very good hands indeed, and also at the Lindo wing, the private wing of St Mary's Hospital in Paddington, which has a long-standing link with the royal family. It was opened by the Queen Mother in 1937, and she was president of St Mary's Paddington until her death in 2002. And I believe 9 royal babies in total have been born in the Lindo wing since the 1970s, when royal births stopped taking place at the palaces and started taking place within the hospital environment, and the Lindo wing was chosen. So, for example, Zara and Peter Phillips, now Zara Tyndall, was born there, and of course Princes Harry and Prince William, who was the first heir to the throne, the future heir to the throne, to be born in a hospital in 1982. So she's been in very good hands at the Lindo wing, and I'm just looking through a list of all the mod cons and comforts available, and I can't see though that if there was air conditioning, because this may not have been the historic birth that a little girl would have represented with the changes to the succession laws, but it is historic in that apparently today is the hottest day in 7 years, and what a day to have to go into labour and to give birth. But hopefully she will have been in comfort within the Lindo wing. Hopefully there will have been air conditioning, because she has all sorts of other comforts: satellite TV, radio, a safe, a phone, a fridge, toiletries, internet access. So she will have been in very good hands indeed.
Charles, it's worth just savouring this moment though here at Buckingham Palace, because this is something that has been played out many, many times, hasn't it, over the centuries, I suppose, or decades at least, since Prince Charles's birth, when the Queen gave birth to Prince Charles here at Buckingham Palace. And it's said that she gave birth to him in one of these rooms at the front of the palace, her own room, and her family wanted her to move to the back of the palace, but she was insistent on being in her own room. And the crowds then, they gathered and they cheered and they saw this ornate easel then.
Yes, and I don't think anyone would have imagined those years ago when Prince Charles was born that there would be this colossal media interest around a royal birth. They would have expected some, but I think the way in which the media has grown, the fact that it's 24 hours a day, in a sense brings the public closer to any public event, and in a sense everybody is almost as excited as they might be as if it was a birth somewhere within their own family.
You know the Queen very well, you worked for her for a long time. What do you think, well, what do you think her feelings will be tonight? And also, do you think she will be visiting her new great-grandchild, her third great-grandchild, in hospital? Will we see her there, or will she wait until the young couple can come here?
Well, I think, the Queen has a great sense of family. I mean, as well as being monarch, it is, of course, a royal family. And in a monarchy, the birth of another generation, the birth of another heir is an important and intrinsic part of monarchy. So, yes, she will certainly be excited, and so will other members of the family.
She, of course, was joking just last week, wasn't she, that she hoped it was born pretty soon because she's off to Balmoral.
Well, that's correct. I think there's a sort of that mixture of excitement but also great sort of practicality, which is very much the character of the Queen.
Yeah. So how long do you think, Louisa, before we actually see the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge on the steps of the Lindo Wing, that tradition, that photo we're now so used to because we saw it with Prince Charles and Diana?
Well, we understand from the press release about the birth that the Duchess of Cambridge is doing well, and we're told that she will remain in hospital overnight. Now, if it has been a normal delivery and everything has gone smoothly, then she should be able to go home tomorrow, one would think. That is certainly the norm if you give birth in an NHS hospital. So it could be that we have that photo opportunity on the steps of the Lindo Wing sometime tomorrow. But yes, what a great day for the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, delivered safely of their firstborn, and what a great day too for the Queen, as you were saying, Sophie, a third great-grandchild, and a great-grandchild that she knows will one day, like her, be on the throne. And she is witnessing, and we are witnessing in her lifetime, something which is quite rare: 3 generations of her own family in line to the throne at the same time as herself, a reigning monarch. And she will no doubt be satisfied by the knowledge, especially coming quite soon after her Diamond Jubilee and the celebrations just recently in June, the 60-year celebrations of her coronation, that the succession is hopefully secure. And this is really, we're seeing hereditary monarchy at play, and indeed I think that's what makes this such a great day for those who support the monarchy, many of whom will remember this occasion for many years to come, not just for the mere excitement and pleasure that a new birth brings, especially given the popularity of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, but because the advantage of hereditary monarchy means the public will be able to see this child as it grows up, knowing exactly where it comes from.
Great scenes here at Buckingham Palace, also great scenes outside the Lindo Wing in St Mary's Paddington. Let's go back there now. Well, those are the scenes at the Lindo Wing where the Duchess of Cambridge and Prince William and their brand new baby son will be enjoying their first few precious hours together. Here at Buckingham Palace, very different scenes. Lots and lots of people who have been flocking here to the palace in the last half hour since the news that the young royal couple had had their first child, and there have been lots of shouts of joy, cheers. The official notice has been put up here in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace. I'm joined here by Charles Anson, who was press secretary to the Queen for many, many years. And a point I made earlier is it does, in this day and age, seem quite extraordinary, actually, that they had the baby at 4:24 this afternoon, and the news has only just been broken.
Yes, I think it's marvellous that in the modern world they're able to keep it quiet for that long. But I think it also indicates, you know, the need that any young couple would want to have a few moments on their own to share this extraordinary experience before sharing it with the rest of the world. And I think that's an interesting question of how you balance this private and public presentation of the baby, and how they will handle that going forward. And I think any woman who's had a child knows that sort of sense of privity and must feel for the Duchess of Cambridge this tremendous burden of having her first child, the enormous emotional roller coaster of that, and at the same time knowing that the public out there, not only in this country but round the Commonwealth, all those other monarchies of which her baby boy will eventually become king, all waiting for more news and hungry to know more about it.
You do wonder, I have to say, having watched the media out there all day today, all of us standing here, do you think they've watched any of it? I mean, you know what they do, you know how much they watch the television, listen to the radio. Do you think they'll have been tuning in and out and thinking, what's out there?
I don't sense with the royal family they're very absorbed with news about themselves, to be honest. I think they'll be much more focused on what's actually happening, and the news is simply a part of modern life and the presentation of the royal family.
And the next few days, the next few weeks, presumably it will be very private. A lot of talk of them going to Kate's parents, where they are obviously sheltered and protected.
I think there'll be milestone moments, as there were with Prince William and Prince Harry, where we will see the baby growing up slowly, but it will be occasional access rather than anything constant.
Right, okay, well, do stay with us, and we are expecting to hear also from the Prime Minister in a short time as well on what is really an extraordinary day of history. The crowds here getting bigger and bigger as we speak. Not much to look at, though, at the moment, but that one piece of history, that one easel.
Yes, exactly. Months of speculation about whether it would be a boy or a girl, finally over with the news then of this 8 pounds 6 ounces little boy. And anyone watching us here at Buckingham Palace and all the crowds here that we can see behind us are really experiencing a moment in history. And what may be going through many people's minds is that if they are around long enough, they will one day see this little boy accede to the throne as king.
Let's go thick into those crowds there, as you can see, growing every minute, and Joanna Gosling is down there with some of the people who've been waiting there for a good part of the day for this moment. Joanna.
The railings of the palace. I hope you can hear me. We're up against the railings of the palace. I'm not sure you can see me at the moment. We're trying to make a little bit of a gap in the crowd, but it is quite extraordinary. Since this news broke, the crowd that was here just raced to the gates of the palace, and the crowd has been growing ever since. People have just been coming from all around as the news filters out that a baby has been born today to Kate and William. Let's talk to some of the people here with us in the crowd about why they wanted to come. Excuse me, madam. Hello. You're live on BBC News. Why did you come here?
This is just an extraordinary event, and I think that's happens just once in a lifetime. I mean, so I was excited. I'm from Hungary, by the way.
Did you come to London especially?
No, especially. No, I live here.
And what time did you come here today? Have you been here for long waiting for this news?
For an hour or so. I saw the cars into the palace with the news, but I just went to see the announcement.
You timed it well, but we'll let you try and get to the front to see the announcement. And you're live on BBC News. Have you come from far to see this announcement?
No, I live in London, but I just decided to come down after work. So it's really exciting.
And why did you decide to come?
Just it's really exciting. It's a historic event and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And it is of course a boy. If it had been a girl, it would have been third in line to the throne anyway, but it's a boy anyway.
Yeah, no, lovely news whenever a baby is always exciting.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, madam, I think, have you just seen the announcement at the front?
Just from a distance.
And why did you decide to come down?
We were down here for the day.
And you're trying to get through to the front to see the announcement on this easel?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Why did you decide to come?
Well, we've been here all month, and we were really hoping that the baby was going to be born while we were here, and we lucked out because we're leaving in a few days. So.
Where are you from?
New York.
And the news has been huge in America.
Oh yeah, they're like just as excited there as they are here.
Why do you think it's so big in America?
Because we don't have this, so it's awesome, you know?
You're going to go and get a good souvenir picture.
Yeah, hopefully.
And you as well, you together?
Yes, we're studying here for the month. Yeah, so we're really excited to be here. We wanted to see if we can walk over, and we got here just in time.
So we got here right as they were announcing it.
Yeah.
Good timing, good timing. I'll let you get to the front. Hi, have you come from far?
Aberdeen, so we came down on holiday just by chance, and we got the news while we were sitting down waiting for dinner, so we jumped in the next taxi we could get, and we're here, and it's absolutely amazing.
And why did you feel you wanted to come here?
It's a moment in history. You said tradition earlier, so I think it's really important to be here if you've got the opportunity to be here.
And it is being done the traditional way with the announcement on the easel just over the gates where we're standing.
We did think it was quite funny. Just before we left, they had the press release, and remember you received it, saying that they might not be doing it until after sundown. We just thought that was quite funny that the birth happened at 4 p.m. and they were still tantalising everyone, things like that. So you can come in at like 8 o'clock tonight. But it's an amazing atmosphere right now. So.
Why did you want to come?
I want to be here for the traditions. David said, it's so exciting, and I really like history, and this is really a history in the making. So yeah, it's amazing.
Would you have preferred it to be a future queen? I mean, obviously they'll be delighted with whatever they've got, but the extra element of history in the making.
It's really, as much as that there is no history just now, it's now there open for any future generations. So I don't think it actually matters whether or not this baby was a boy or a girl. I think the fact that the precedent has now been changed, that anyone can become monarch, is what's important.
And you know the vital statistics, I guess, born at 4'24", weighing 8 pounds 6 ounces. All right, I'll let you get to the front.
I was going to say, I'm too much of a guy to know much about the weights.
Thank you very much. Well, as you can tell, an enormous crowd here at the palace. People trying to make a bit of an orderly queue, if that's possible to describe this as, but people are getting to the front, taking their pictures on their smartphones and then heading back, and everyone, I don't know if this entire crowd is going to manage to filter to the front and get the picture that they want, but it is an enormous crowd here, and no doubt people will be here for some time this evening. Sophie, back to you.
Joanna, thank you very much. Well, if you are just tuning in, let me remind you of the big news this evening, and that is that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge this afternoon gave birth to their first child, a baby boy. He was born at 4:24 this afternoon. He weighed 8 pounds and 6 ounces, and a short time ago, a bit of royal tradition, a bit of royal drama, as Ailsa Anderson, who is the press secretary to the Queen, arrived in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace, accompanied by a liveried footman and clasping a framed document which she put on the easel. This is a tradition dating back a very long time, that the birth of a monarch is announced in this way, and they're chaining it on securely to the easel a very short statement saying that the Duchess of Cambridge had given birth. We can hear now from the Prime Minister, David Cameron.
Well, it is. It's wonderful news from St Mary's Paddington, and I'm sure that right across the country, and indeed right across the Commonwealth, people will be celebrating and wishing the royal couple well. It is an important moment in the life of our nation, but I suppose above all it's a wonderful moment for a warm and loving couple who got a brand new baby boy. It's been a remarkable few years for our royal family, a royal wedding that captured people's hearts, that extraordinary and magnificent jubilee, and now this royal birth, all from a family that have given this nation so much incredible service. And they can know that a proud nation is celebrating with a very proud and happy couple tonight.
So have you passed on your congratulations?
Prime Minister for this young couple on the birth of their first child as an yet unnamed baby boy. Well, I'm joined here at the palace, not just by large crowds of people who have gathered here to have a look at the easel that you saw a short time ago with the official announcement, but also by Charles Anson, who was press secretary to the Queen, and by Marcia Moody, who is the author of a biography about Kate herself and also former royal correspondent at OK magazine. What a moment.
I know, it was so exciting down here. I mean, I know that there was all the action was going on at the Lindo wing, but the crowds have been building and building here all day. And then when the announcement came, the crowds were all cheering. They were saying hip hip hooray. Taxis were beeping their horns. It was just so exciting.
And a baby boy. Do you think that's what Kate would have wanted? There was talk that she wanted a boy and that Prince William wanted a girl.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether there was any truth in that. I think probably like most first-time parents, they were just happy to have a healthy baby.
How do you think she will now cope being a young mother in this intense media spotlight?
Well, I think she'll probably cope in the way that she has been coping. I think she'll be exactly the same. She's got her head screwed on. She's got a really good, solid, sort of stable background. And I think that will set her in really good stead.
And she's spent a lot of time with her family recently, hasn't she, in the last few weeks? And
yes.
A lot of expectation that she will continue to do that, as any new mother might do, go home to their own mother to be looked after.
As much as possible, they will hopefully make it as normal as possible, yeah.
But it's going to be the next few weeks, the next few months and years, obviously, that are going to put a lot of pressure on them, how they deal with this tiny child who is the third in line to the throne.
I think that they will work things out as they go along. I think very much so this generation of the royal family are sticking with tradition where it's necessary, where it's required, and then they are seeing how things go as much as possible as time moves forward.
Charles Anson, we spoke earlier about the whole media pressure, but they're a very private couple, aren't they? They're intensely private.
I think very private and enjoy their privacy. That's been clear in their marriage. But they're also awfully good and very easy together. I mean, you really do feel the sort of Team Wales on any public occasion. And I think the Duchess has a very natural style in the way that she handles herself on public events. And she's always very encouraged by William. He's very protective in that respect. And I think she'll combine that well with finding the privacy for their children. I think you're right, Monsieur. I think they have a knack, this couple, for being able to do the right thing in public whilst making it very clear that they're going to want to spend parts of their life privately, and especially now with a new and first child, they'll want to not only have that privacy but have all the enjoyment of sharing that moment. And I think that's evident in those 4 hours that they had together. And I'm very struck that when Prince William was born, the Prince of Wales wrote to Patricia Mountbatten and spoke about not only this marvellous moment when he was present at the birth of Prince William, but the fact that it was a baby that belonged to us, he said, when so much of the time it seemed to belong to the whole world. And so I think that balance is important.
And you talk of privacy. They certainly have privacy right now at St Mary's, don't they? Because they managed, as you say, to keep this birth very, very quiet for the good part of 4 hours. Let's go now live to the Lindo wing, where the world's media is still congregated, and Anita McVeigh's there.
Thank you so